this meeting of the EAT board to order. We'll do roll call.
Ms.
Do we
Underhill?
do roll call? I'm
Yep.
sorry, Nancy, I'm behind, so.
That's okay. Do you want me to do it or are you going to do it?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, no problem. Ms. Underhill?
Here.
Director DeAndrea?
Here.
Director Sabata?
Here.
And just to clarify, it's also Director Underhill, sorry. And City Attorney Allison McKinney-Brown.
Here. Great.
There's a quorum present.
Thank you. And have you been notified of anybody from the public who wishes to speak? I don't see anybody on the line.
I have not.
Okay, great. So we have two items before us tonight, or today, this afternoon. The first one, I'm going to call up the agenda. Oh. So the first one is an item to, we want to move forward with some work to do an ongoing maintenance contract with for the RTD elevator. Right now, what we're doing is kind of calling various firms over time and trying to get them out. And what we would like instead to do is get a contract with one provider. In this case, the name is Tyson Krupp. They were the original installers, and so we think it's of value to have them on board. That way they can not only troubleshoot issues, but that they will come out in a timely manner to resolve any repairs. We've had several complaints over the last couple of years, just because when the RTD elevator goes down, it actually becomes a situation where it's not very convenient for people in a wheelchair to get from the RTD platform down to the lower level. And so what you would actually have to do is go to the south end of the RTD ramp and kind of through the parking lot over to where like Jamba Juice is and Tokyo Joe's, and then come down the sidewalk back towards the parking garage and the front of the Civic Center. So it's very much roundabout way to have to get there if the elevator is down. So we have had complaints from folks about that, especially after hours, because they could come into the Civic Center and then take the internal elevator up, but instead this is much more convenient. So John, do you want to add anything? John's our project manager who's been put the quotes together. And do you have anything else to say, John, about that?
Yeah, I did a comparable, well, hello everybody, good afternoon. I had a comparable analysis. I got multiple bids and kind of compared everybody together, and what it boiled down to is the manufacturer we ended up going through. Maria mentioned Tyson Krupp. They are the manufacturer of the actual elevator. So cost is going to be, cut probably in half as far as repair material, so on and so forth. So that, and we got a really good monthly rate part of the package as well. So that's why I was recommending ThyssenKrupp moving forward.
Okay. And John, what was the dollar amount again?
The dollar amount, I believe it comes up to $197 a month for the service agreement.
Mm-hmm. So we're over the dollar amount, but yeah, the total for the year would exceed our $10,000. So that's why we're bringing it to the EAT board. So with that, I'd recommend moving forward with that contract.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'll just, we'll do it by individual names. So DeAndre, aye. Sabata?
Aye.
Underhill?
Aye.
Great, thanks. So that passes. Thank you very much for that. And then the second item we wanted to discuss, or have a motion on actually, was we need to replace the computer. It's the CPU, I forget what CPU stands for, computer processing unit, I believe. But it's basically the computer that runs the fountain. So we do have a fountain maintenance person, And our company, the K&M Enterprise, they've worked on the fountain, I think, almost from the beginning. So they're very intimately aware of all the issues. And so they've priced out a new CPU at a cost of $26,130. We had planned for this in the budget though, actually, because he had warned us that that was on its last legs. Yeah, our contractor, Kirk. And so we thought we could probably get through the end of the year, which I think he can make it work, but we'll be shutting down the fountain probably mid-October. And so at the same time, he'd put in this new unit so that we're ready for the spring. Is that correct, John, in the timeline, or would he wait till the spring to install?
He would include that installation before the seasonal shutdown. So it'd be this
Shutdown.
year.
Okay, yep. So, and as it says in the memo, the current fountain CPU can't control the on-off programming using the clock. It can't control those pop-up sprayers, just because it's old and there's program versions that have expired, and it just basically can't keep up with the current things that are needed to run that. And so we know that it's been out there, and it's just time to kind of do it. So with that, anything else you want to add, John?
No, I think you've got it. CPU is actually control panel unit. I struggle
Okay.
with that as well. But no, you're spot on as far as like, because that's why we see it on in the morning. He's just the contractor has left it on just because they don't have the programmable functions or anything. So I asked multiple times, like, why is it on? And that's how they can get it to function. So it's very highly recommended that this be replaced.
Okay.
For to make it function more adequately.
Yeah. So entertain a motion to approve. Oh, or I'm sorry, is there any questions?
So I have a question. Does it make sense? This is Director Sabata. Does it make sense to do it in the fall? I mean, where is the unit located? Is it out in the fountain?
Mhm.
It's not exposed to the elements, but it's still.
It's down underneath. So there's a vault where you go down into underneath the fountain, and it's located down there.
Oh.
No.
And also I'd like to add the reason why they're recommending it is because the fountain's charged right now, meaning it's operational. And when they do this upgrade, they can go through their fountain functions, calibrations, and all that before they turn the fountain off for the season. So it'd be sort of advantageous to do it now that the fountain's actually in operation rather than waiting throughout the winter season, installing it and doing the same thing at startup.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right. So I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval of that. It is an optimal source, just so you know. So it's through K&M, but again, we feel that that's justified. We had gone out last year, Director Underhill, just so you know the background, we had tried a different firm last year to maintain the fountain, and it just didn't work out very well. For whatever reason, it's an intricate piece of equipment, and K&M, who's our contractor, really has the best knowledge of it. And so we feel that this is in the best interest of ETH and the city to move forward with this sole optimal source. So I'll recommend approval of the purchase of the CPU through K&M and purchase and installation of the CPU through K&M Enterprises.
I'll second.
Okay. The second, and we'll do a roll call vote of the members. So DeAndre is an aye. Underhill?
Aye.
And Sabata? Sorry.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Thank you. And then the final item, we just wanted to give a verbal update. John is currently soliciting, or is putting, it's out on the street right now as an RFP to provide property management services, which encompasses both snow removal and de-icing, and as well as the landscaping and day porter services. So we've had mixed results last year. And so we're packaging that in the hopes of getting one contractor who would do both. And so it's just hopefully would be less oversight needed by staff. And we're also doing, instead of on an hourly basis for the snow removal, we're doing it based on pushes. So per event, essentially, based on the amount of snow that we receive. So beyond that, John, do you want to add anything to that process or talk about that some more?
Yeah, I'd love to. So she had mentioned, Maria had mentioned the per push, and this is a new term that I've never been familiar with. And through my research going and seeing what other municipalities have done in the past, it's instead of a typical like per hour charge for doing, certain activities, this is going to be the quantity. It's going to be per push, which is pretty much, it's defined as the price to complete the whole required work at a time. So that would be to do all of each property in these different price per push price ranges that we define in our pricing worksheet. So it could be anywhere from an inch and a half of snow up to 4 inches of snow. So there'll be a per push price for all of that, 4 to 8 inches, so on and so forth. So I think this will be a lot more manageable in the sense of just tracking, other than having staff go out and count individual heads and make notes, and having that information going back to process invoices and reconciliation. I think this is going to be a lot more of a streamlined process.
Yeah, if you recall, last year we went significantly over on budget, partially because there was a disconnect between our contractor and staff about how many people they were bringing out, and we just went significantly over budget and had to go back to council to get additional resources for snow removal. So we feel this is a good way to manage our risk and manage our budget, basically. So I think it's justified, like let's say we have a super snowy year, then we can justify that, but this is just reducing that risk for if we are planning for a normal year of snow. Mm-hmm. Any questions on that?
I do have a question,
Yeah.
because I get to see the current landscapers working usually once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And do we pay an hourly rate, or is it just a general, keep the lawn mowed, trim the trees, bushes sort of thing? And however they go about it, to get the job done. Is it an hourly thing, or is it job related?
You want to answer that, John?
Yeah, so we have a pricing worksheet that pretty much has the scope of work defined, and a lot of those items like the daily porter service, the guy that you see in the morning dumping trash can, that's for that type of scope, that would be like a per week charge per week. Then we have also like power washing, landscaping, like you alluded to, that would be per hour. And then pretty much we have set unit prices as far as the leaf collection and disposal, the tree trimming, all of that is set unit price. They just quantitate the amount of units it took. So that's the means of how we've been tracking it. And then they also do a monthly flat rate service, like a basic service. And then in addition, they'll have like a separate line item for if they did do the tree trimming, if they did do the power washing, and they'll break that out. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yeah, I was concerned about the hourly rate. They've been string trimming the grass area in the amphitheater versus mowing it. So, and it takes much longer to do. So I'm hoping in the new contract possibly that it's just a per job versus the hourly rate.
The mowing, I think, is per week. So
Is it just
it's
a
not
weekly
a
thing? Okay,
per
that's
hour.
fine.
They're string trimming that whole amphitheater area?
This week they mowed it, but the last month they've been string trimming it.
Okay. Good to
Which
know.
leaves a lot of debris. It doesn't pick up the leaves and the trash. Yeah, from a looks perspective, the mowing is very nice, and it's much faster. 15 minutes versus an hour and a half. Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. It's updated that way.
Great. Yeah, so I think going forward with this whoever our new contractors are, John will be able to establish those new relationships and expectations, and really, monitor those levels of service that we have built into the scope of work. Just a couple other things that we've done around the EAF area, just as an FYI. John's team oversaw recently, we power washed the garage, both the upper and lower deck, and restriped that. There's still a little touch up to do, but I think that's a huge improvement. And then also he's working on some upgraded lighting for the area. It feels kind of dull down there, right now. And especially as we go into fall and winter, it's just going to become more noticeable. We have received complaints here in the past about just, again, could we do some better lighting? We also did our concrete grinding, which is a contract that we do around the city for trip hazards on sidewalk. We inventoried the entire EAF area and removed did all the concrete grinding of trip hazards around here too. So that was $8,000, which I think was well worth it for that price to address the entire area.
Good.
And John, any other ones you want to highlight, projects that are either done or coming up?
Yeah, some stuff that we had done. We had some sick trees in the oval and the circle drive that we had treated. I'm not familiar with the exact treatment, but more or less it was bugs. And we also had quite a bit of new vegetation planted in the parking lots just east of the Civic Center, Qdoba, in those areas. We did about $16,000 or $17,000 worth of new shrubs, new trees, took all the dead stuff out. So there were some islands that have been in my sore eye looking, since I started in January, and gladly, I was gladly to get those projects, those islands filled up. So it's going to be really nice as soon as that vegetation establishes, and we're just getting started.
Great. All right, so sorry again for the lateness, tardiness of our approach. So is there any other questions or new business to discuss?
Nothing here.
Okay. Allison, any comments from the city attorney's office?
No comments.
Okay. All right, with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 3:40 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you.